Hello dear students. In the previous class we started Unit 5 We Can Invent and we completed till activity 1, 2 and 3. So in today's class we will be continuing with activity 4. Activity 4 is actually based on activity 3 but it was a live class activity. The students, if we are present, we will share about our answers and then we can give this. But let's just understand what it was. In activity 1, we studied a poem and answered few questions based on it. In activity 2, we learned how to sing that poem with rhythm, with beats. And in activity 3, we had to make our own poem on inventions. So in activity 4, we have to share your poem with other students in the class, read and listen to all the new poems invented by your classmates. Inventors are always ready to improve their inventions. As your class shares verses to their invention poem, listen carefully to the beat and rhyme of each verse. If any part of a poem doesn't sound right, work together to improve the sound. If any two verses are about the same invention, see the class lists of Dr. Invention's ideas for a new word and change the invention in that verse. Help your class make the longest and the best poem you can. We actually did this in class and it was really I was actually proud of my students that year they all came up with such beautiful poems. I can say that for sure. When I was your age, I was forget about writing poems. We were just memorizing poems. But it's really good that your classmates are coming up with their own ideas and they created really nice poems. After listening to everybody's poem, you have to write these answers. This activity was also done in class, but for those who are studying this at home, they don't have to do anything in it. It's like how many verses did your class think of? Which inventions did your class put in your poem? In their poem, which inventions they have put? Which verses did you need to change to improve the sound? Certain students made really nice inventions, but when you change certain words, you can get some optional words which can rhyme with the previous lines. So that way, certain verses were changed. Which inventions did you need to change to make each verse different from the long class poem? Now, two students, they all are thinking differently, but sometimes your ideas clash. So we had to change certain inventions, like instead of when we are talking about vehicle, but you need to be specific about which vehicles are you talking about. So that way we also made certain changes and then we made a long poem. Now after the activities related to the poem, we have a story, the crow and the pitcher. When you just even see the image, you can know that it is the story of the thirsty crow. But why are we studying this story? Because invention is not just about creating things, it's also about thinking of new ways to solve problems. But here, along with that invention or along with that thinking, you have to study about the story. Now, even if I do not tell the story, you know the story of the crow and the pitcher or the story about the thirsty crow. But here you have to notice the story pattern. What is the sequence? How a story normally goes. So let's see. One day a crow was very thirsty. For many days there had been no rain. His throat was very dry. He felt weak. He was too weak to fly. If the crow did not find water soon, he would die of thirst. He felt too weak to fly, but he walked on looking for water. So this is the situation here. What happened? Like there had been no rain, so there was no water and everything had dried up. So his throat was also dry. Without drinking, his throat was dry and he was feeling weak. He could not fly, so he was walking and he was looking for water. So what is happening here? One day something happened to our character that caused a problem. Who is the character here? It's the crow. And what is the problem? That there is no water. He is very thirsty. He is feeling weakness because of thirst. Suddenly, the crow came upon a pitcher on the ground. The pitcher had water in it. The crow put his beak in the pitcher, but the water was too low for him to reach. The crow was so very thirsty. He tried again to reach the water, stretching his beak and neck and back as far as he could. He struggled and strained, and ruffled his feathers, but he could not reach the water at the bottom of the pitcher. So, what is the pitcher? It is the water jug. So, he was looking for water and he came across a pitcher. It had water, but the water was at the bottom of the pitcher and he could not reach there. He was very thirsty, so he tried to reach. He put in extra efforts, like he stretched his beak and neck and back as far as he could. He struggled. He was trying very hard for it and ruffled his feathers. Ruffled means like when wo jhatpata hat kind of thing. But he could not reach the water at the bottom of the pitcher. So what is happening in the second paragraph? That suddenly the character tried to solve the problem but it didn't work. So how did he try to solve this problem? By trying to reach the water by stretching himself. But still it did not work. Finally he stopped. Crows are smart, and this crow stopped struggling and stepped back to look closely and think calmly. Calmly means with peace, like peacefully he was thinking. The crow noticed many rocks on the ground. He began to put the rocks in the pitcher. As each rock went in, the level of the water rose in the pitcher. After many rocks, the water was finally at the top of the pitcher. The crow could reach it. He finally got the drink he needed. The moral of the story is no problem is too big if you take time to think of a solution. So basically, when he saw the pitcher, he was trying to, get the water. After many efforts, he still not get. So then, instead of giving up, he stopped and he thought calmly. You know, many a times when we see our parents struggling with something or we are trying to get some solution, we always say like keep your uh, think peacefully about it and you will get the solution. So then when the crow thought calmly, when he thought peacefully, he noticed that there were many rocks on the ground and he started putting the rocks in the pitcher. After putting many rocks, the water level rose and he could drink the water. Hence we get the moral that no problem is too big if you take time to think of a solution. We all have been given brains, but you know, we all of us cannot keep our mind at peace. We cannot think calmly. So but if we take time to think, no problem is too big. So what happens in this passage? Finally the character tries again and solves the problem in an unexpected way. Now we have studied this in science, like the property of mass. So crows are smart. Here also, it was not something which a normal human being can directly think of. Forget about human beings. Here we are talking about a crow. So it's not something that they can easily think of. But still, he thought about it. He thought calmly about it and he got the solution in an unexpected way. Activity 6. Many stories follow a pattern like The Crow and the Pitcher. Notice the first paragraph of the story starts by describing something that happens so that one day the main character, the crow, has a problem. Here we know the story of the crow and the pitcher. What is the thing? Like there is introduction to the character and the situation, then he is trying to solve it and then but does not succeed and then he comes up with a solution which is in unexpected way and the problem is solved. So this kind of thing, this kind of storyline has been followed in various stories. So based on that story you have to answer these questions. What happened to cause a problem for the crow? What happened? Like the problem was that he was thirsty, but why that problem happened? Because there was no rain and as a result there was no water. He became very weak and if he couldn't find water he would die of thirst. The second paragraph shows how the character tries to solve the problem but it doesn't work. How does the crow try to solve his problem? The crow tried to solve his problem by putting his beak in the pitcher, but the water was too low for him to reach. He tried again to reach the water, stretching his beak and neck and back as far as he could. He struggled and strained and ruffled his feathers, but he could not reach the water at the bottom of the pitcher. The third paragraph shows that something changed and the character could solve the problem in an unexpected way. How did the crow solve the problem? The crow solved the problem by putting the rocks in the pitcher. As each rock went in, the level of the water rose in the pitcher. After many rocks, the water was finally at the top of the pitcher. The crow could reach it. He finally got the drink he needed. Activity 7. Work with a partner to invent a new story using the pattern. What character will you create? What problem will you write about? How will the character try to solve the problem at first? How will the character succeed? So, activity 7 is your homework. You all have to write a story where there is a character, there is a problem, where he tries to solve but cannot succeed, and then he tries to solve in another way where the character succeeds in solving problem. This is your homework for today and you have to write this exercise in your textbook. Activity 8. When people invent something, they want everyone to know that the idea belongs to them, especially if it is a completely new idea. Inventors let everyone know by registering a patent. So, what is a patent? It is the official right to be the only person to make, use, or sell a product or an invention. Or it is the document that shows this is your right. So, whenever people invent something, whenever they have created something new, they want everyone to know that this idea belongs to them and only they have the right over it. Only they can make, use, or sell this product or that invention. So, patent is the document which shows that this is their right. Anybody can patent almost anything as long as the idea is their original idea that no one has already registered. So even you guys can patent anything, but that should be your original idea and it should not have been already registered. Anybody else should not have already claimed their name on it. Look at some of these patently absurd inventions from www.totallyabsurd.com. It is a website on which there have been given certain inventions. But what kind of inventions are they? They have been patented and absurdly. Now, the word patent, it also has another meaning. It means like obvious or like without any doubt. So they are literally absurd. Absurd means, it's like vichitra. They are strange, awkward kind of inventions. Look at these inventions from totallyabsurd.com. Many words in English have different forms and different meanings. Look at the word patent in the text. So here there are two meanings of patent. One is the document which shows that it's your right or it is registered under your name, and another word of patent is obvious or clear. So where is the word used as a noun, a word that names a thing? It is when we are talking about registering a patent. At that time, patent is a noun. Where is the word used as a verb to say what a person does when he or she gets that thing? It is when we say anybody can patent. Here, patent is a verb, it's an action word. And where is the word used as an adverb to modify another word? It is in the line patently absurd inventions, like clearly absurd inventions. Choose one of the inventions. Study the drawing carefully to see how it works. Write a description to share with your classmates. In your description, tell what the invention does, how it works, and what problem it solves. So here we are given two inventions from totallyabsurd.com. First one is a snake walker. Now, as we have dog walker, here we have a snake walker. It is for walking the snakes who are, domesticated, who have been kept as pets. And the second one is dog umbrella. Umbrella which does not just cover, without keeping any hands, or it fully covers the dog, and the dog can walk out even during rains. So these two inventions have been given. You have to choose any one of the inventions and write your description, like what it does, how it works, and what problem it solves. You even this exercise you have to write in your textbook. After activity 8, we have activity 9, where you have to draw about your invention and write about it. Now, students, that activity I've not even asked the students to do in class. Like drawing an invention, and it's not something which comes up easily. The scientists also need lots of time to come up with invention. So that activity we have skipped. And activity 10, even that activity has been skipped because there you literally have to make paper video game that you can do as a fun activity by yourself at home, but it's not to be done. I won't be asking anything regarding that. So after this, your chapter gets over and the PDF of this will be already uploaded. Now students, keep that in mind that in this time's unit test exam, I won't be directly asking all the questions. You will be given a passage, comprehension will be there, the understanding of that poem or that passage or story, or answering the answers from their story. Here also we had the story of the crow and the pitcher. Same way for your unit test, I will give you another story, and from that story you have to write answers. Not just the multiple choice questions, but actual question answers. I hope you have understood how you have to do all these things. Besides this, I will be posting a revision video, and you will be having a live class as well where you can solve your doubts. So that's it for today. Do your homework, and after that you can just enjoy your day.